Okay, also today we're going to have a look at page layout. Click on the page layout ribbon. Some of the things that we're going to have a look at is firstly margins. I like to have the rulers on here. You can see my rulers around my screen here and here. I can change the margins by just going like so and moving them and changing them. I'll just undo that because I don't really want to do that. But and I can also do it through here and select one of the presets, or of course I can change the top, bottom, right. For those uninitiated, 2.54 centimeters is actually an inch all round. So I can also change the orientation to portrait and landscape. Just go cancel there, and you can do the same thing here, portrait and landscape. Paper size, most of the time I'm happy to deal with A4. And the last thing we're going to look at is columns, and by default it is one column, which is that. So just a thing about page layout stuff is that once you change things on the page, I don't know if you've done that before, but what you will notice is that when you change things on the page, it actually affects the whole page, no matter where your cursor is. So if I change the margins using page layout or columns, so I just go columns and choose say 2, it changes the whole document, or the whole page at least. Just undo that to go back to where we are. Same with things like page color. You can change the page color, change the fill effect, diagonal, pattern, even for that matter put a picture on the background. So if you want a picture, you can put a pretty picture on the background. Yay. I think that's probably a bit much. Watermark might be not a bad idea. You can put a nice watermark on there, confidential or draft, create a custom watermark, perhaps with a picture with a logo or something like that. You could put on the back with a watermark, a little bit more subtle than the actual background image. This is a little bit lighter, a bit more subtle. I'll just undo that because I don't want to do that, but just to show you that you can do things. And same with page borders. You can change page borders, you can choose whatever you like, change the width, and also if you want it to be really fancy, some of these probably are a little bit too but there's a few that are, I guess, reasonable. Yeah, some of them are a little more subtle than others, so maybe that one. Click OK and you get a nice border in my wonderful chosen colour. So let's click undo for the moment. The other thing that we can also put in, or you can see up here, these breaks. And what breaks allow you to do, as I said before, when you normally make any changes to the page layout, it actually changes the whole page. And that isn't always what you want to do. You don't always want to change the whole page. So breaks allow us to do things like incorporate a heading and then change the columns like in a newsletter. So I'm just going to show you how to do that. So I'll just go up here and I'm just going to insert a heading, and I'll just type in there, put in capitals, news letter for the current month, and I'll just go back here and maybe I'll center it. I might also choose a nice fancy font, make it a bit bigger, maybe a bit too big, maybe there. And now if I wanted to, underneath that, actually add a section break, then what I can do is, when I do things like just add a section break, so page layout break, and what I'm going to do is choose a section break that is continuous. So just click that one, and if we go back here and put the codes on, we should be able to see, where am I? Page layout break continuous. There it is. maybe I didn't press it hard enough before. And you can see we now have this section break. So what I can do now is where I am underneath there, if I go into columns and choose 2, you see it only affects the things underneath my section break. And if you're going to do a newsletter or something like that, then that's really what you want to happen. You want to be able to have a heading up the top here that covers the whole page, and then split into columns after that. So I think that's a really nice thing. So we just got more columns here. We have this dialog box that we can choose. We've got 2 columns. If I click here, this line between, we're going to have them equal width. We're going to apply it to this section, just click OK, and then we get a nice line between our columns. So we can create this sort of newsletter type up here. So I can just do my normal formatting, just click home, just get that, call that and make that a heading 2, make that a heading 2, make that a heading 2, and make that a heading 2. So there's our simple thing, and of course I can do things like I can insert a piece of clip art. Yeah, that'll do. It doesn't really matter what it is. Insert an image, and there's my image. Whoops, so 2, just delete 1. And make that a bit smaller. And we looked at last week about changing the text wrapping, so we just make that tight, and I can move that anywhere I want. Of course, if I wanted it in the middle, I probably don't really need the line in between, and I can do that, and I can use the formatting things, make it pretty, put a shadow, put a box around it, whatever I want to do. And now it's part of my newsletter. So just some of those other things under page layout, we'll just go back to there, and we've got 2 columns. We also have underneath breaks, we can put a column break, we can determine text wrapping around objects on our pages, and we can also do page breaks through this section here, although we learned how to do a page break with the keyboard the other week. There's a few other things about section breaks, they're not that important. This is really the one that's going to be used the most, is this continuous one, which allows you to do page formatting, and different page formatting on the one page. If you don't put a section break, then you just can't do that. So that's probably about it for now.